A provision of the new health care law, which takes effect next year, will require businesses to file 1099 tax forms reporting any purchases they make of goods or services above $600 from any individual or business, including corporations. Two-part question. Does this requirement seem unreasonably burdensome to businesses, and how could this requirement be eliminated?
Well, I must say that I'm familiar with the component. I've heard it mentioned several times. I'm not sure exactly why or what relevance it plays in the healthcare system, and maybe Congressman Perriello will clear that up for us. But what I do know is this: being a businessman, if you add additional regulation, additional paperwork, additional burdens upon us, it does have an economic effect. Listen, there are a lot of businesses right now in the 5th District that are struggling, that are teetering, that are on the very verge of default. We have not been in an economic recession for 2 years. We've been in a recession in this area for many years. We have had a down real estate market for many years, and we need to do things that are going to relieve the business or the burden upon small businesses. People say, well, it's only 25 cents at a time. It's only $1 here. It's $2 here. It's another hour of your time. Though that time costs money, it requires diligence. If you miss that piece of paperwork, you could face fines, penalties. You can have all types of repercussions, unintended consequences. When you get into a strict planned society, there is always unintended consequences that is not prepared to deal with. Anyone in here has been to the DMV. Let one thing happen that goes against what their policy manual says, and the entire thing almost grinds to a halt. I've got to see my supervisor. I've got to see my supervisor. Because they're not prepared. They're not designed to handle those things that come up unexpectedly. And that's where we need to be careful when we try to get into these centrally planned systems, and certainly the healthcare provision and all of its components are just that, central planning.
Do you want me to repeat?
The 1099 issue is a serious one, and it's one Senator Hurd should ask his friends who are fundraising for him in Texas, because we put in a bill to get rid of it, and the Republicans all voted to protect it. It's the worst kind of politics, where they would rather have the issues of political football than solve the problem. That's not what I got into this for. When there's a problem, we solve it. That's more important than scoring political points. So the Republicans had a chance to get rid of this problem. It is on them that they voted against it, because we did it under a suspension vote so that there would be no amendments, no attempts to water it down, go through the subcommittee process in order to make sure that we did it. The original intent was clear. A lot of small businesses have been cheating on their taxes. The 1099 issue was an approach that was meant to go after those people who weren't paying their taxes, instead of putting the burden on the people who were playing by the rules. The administration came up with a burdensome way of implementing that. We've already solved a significant portion of it by saying anything on a credit or debit card does not require the 1099, which is the majority of purchases over $600 by small business. So that's one big part of it solved. And again, we made the effort to get rid of it. This is a time for people who are serious about solving problems, serious about fairness, serious about figuring out a way to make our healthcare system more competitive and more efficient, not for political partisans who want to go out and score cheap political points. I hope Senator Hurd will ask his friends in Texas why it is that they voted to protect that provision.